Yep.
Hello, my name is Kamal, and we're presenting aluminum as a commodity. We are Group 3. Well, what is scarcity? Scarcity is the fundamental economic problem. It states that we have unlimited wants and needs and limited resources. This will cause an unbalance in the world, and scarcity is defined when an item is important, or when you need to substitute or trade something in order to get that scarce item. Okay. What is aluminum? We know that aluminum was produced in 1825 in the Netherlands. It's been used by Greeks since 1761. It's the third most abundant metal in the world, and it makes up to 9% of the world's weight. Christy.
I'm Krista. The global aluminium industry has about 10 big producers. You have Rusal, Alcoa, Hydro, and Rio Tinto, to name a few. Therefore, it suggests that this is an oligopolistic market. These producers have to have really low cost of production, which makes it a difficult market to enter. Since new producers will at first have high initial costs. This chart shows the cost of production for different aluminium producers. Demand. The demand for aluminium grows every year by about 5 to 7% yearly. This is because it's a commodity of progress needed in many other industries. For instance, the transport industry and the construction industry make up most of the global aluminium demand. This shows aluminium consumption by region. Supply for aluminium consists of mainly alloy production and primary production. Factors that affect aluminium supply are alumina and uninterrupted electricity supply. For instance, in the United States in 2001, shortages in electricity affected aluminium production, which led to an increase in aluminium prices. From the pie chart, you can see that China produces almost half of the aluminium supply in the world.
Okay, my name is Sverre, and I chose to look into the American aluminum market. The American aluminum market is a gigantic industry. It contributes to more than $150 billion a year in the United States. It does this through economical output, and this equals almost 1% of the American GDP every year. In addition to all the money that's put into this industry, it's also bringing up a lot of jobs in the United States. About 670,000 jobs are being created directly or indirectly through the industry of aluminum. What you're currently looking at is aluminum prices in US dollars per pound in the last 10 years. As you can see, the biggest eye-catcher on the chart is, of course, the drop in 2008. This was caused by the financial crisis, which we are familiar with. The crash was brought on by the financial crisis, which hit so many of the American markets. This proves how strong the interdependence is among the American markets, especially because so many of the markets collapsed almost simultaneously. Since then, the market has been struggling a little bit. Director of Metals Research and Strategy for Citigroup in London said the following to Financial Times in 2013. It's an oversupplied market that's grinding prices lower. The industry is still not really adjusting. Yes. The next chart here shows the biggest industrial consumers of aluminum. As you can see, transport is the biggest one, and this shows, in terms of interdependence, shows which industries will be most affected if something were to happen with the aluminum industry. For example, if the price of aluminum would increase, the price of transportation would increase, which would then again increase prices of cars or trucks, which again would increase prices of everyone's groceries. This is just an example of the interdependence. Okay.
I'm Cheng, and now I'm going to talk about the market in China. So China is the fastest growing and the second largest economy after the state. And it plays a dominant role in the global aluminium market, and it accounts for half of the global aluminium consumption, which is up to 48%. And charcoal is the world's second largest aluminium producer. So in China, the market used to be a monopoly market because this is the only producer in China. But then the China government have been really loosening the restriction on the aluminium market, which allow more companies to enter the market. And then it become an oligopoly market, which is which by mean this company have been state-owned and multinational. And as shown here, this is the China market, which is whole second after the Russian market, and then we have the Shifa Group, which is a new market, a new company that have entered the aluminium producing market. And in terms of demand, because of urbanization and rapid development, as well as industrialization, it will increase the urban income growth as well as the living standard. But it also promotes the transportation, construction, and the demand for infrastructure. And then this kind of industry have promoted the increase in demand for aluminium, as they are the prime and fundamental metal for this industry. Next, I will talk about the government intervention that have affected the demand and supply in China. For example, the National Environmental Program, which objective is to increase industry energy and efficiency and reduce CO2 emission and set a lower electricity consumption limit, which this kind of program have limited the China domestic aluminium production, as well as lead to a decrease in China domestic consumption of aluminium. In conclusion, aluminium is a fundamental compound for many industries, for example, the transportation and etc. But on the other side, it is also an oversupply market. Therefore, we will forecast to see a price drop due to the surplus and high inventory. But at the same time, the demand will continue to grow, except the fact that supply will still exceed the demand. So this is a conclusion for our presentation.
It's still way too short.
It's fine.
7 minutes.
How do I stop it?
Yeah,
Just this red button.